You're listening to Every Last Drop podcast. Join me, Danny, Nick, and sometimes Luke as we explore the relationship between philosophy and art. If you enjoy today's show and want to contribute to what we're doing, visit everylastdroppodcast.com/contribute. We greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the show.
There it is. There it is.
The original.
It's been a while since we had that.
I know.
I need to bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring sexy back.
I figured, why not? For old time's sake.
Yeah.
Why not?
We got Luke Schrader in the house.
Luke is back, although just for this one time, sadly.
No, dude, quit college.
Quit school.
Quit school. Quit your
Give
job.
up on all of your dreams and ambitions in life.
Yeah.
You know, I parked it around
Become
the
a
clock
bum.
the other night, and I was like, holy hell, I should stop everything I'm doing and become a valet. Because
Nice.
I parked perfectly within the lines, and
Really?
like the end of my car and the front of my car was just like,
There is a valet service here in Valpo.
Yeah,
Did you
there
know
is.
that?
It's by the bank, isn't it? On Lincoln Way?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like by stacks.
Yeah.
screw that, I'll be self-employed.
Friday night and
my
Saturday
fame
night.
will blow
Yeah.
up, regardless of Uber and Lyft or whatever else.
Your fame.
Yeah.
Your fame as a valet guy.
A celebrity valet.
Guys, screw Uber. This guy's awesome.
Usually it's funny because the valet is the guy who parks the famous person's car. So it's like...
Right.
It's like
Right.
a switch of roles. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and that's part of my marketing technique.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Right.
I like
So
it.
instead of the celebrity getting the no-name valet boy to park the car, the valet is the celebrity.
Right. Right. And it's
A role reversal.
it's a privilege to meet me, Like, wow, you are handling my car. This is oh
Yeah.
my god, this
And
is life changing.
When he parks the car, he's like, wow, my car's so much better than this one.
Yep.
How are you guys?
Hold on, we have a cat interrupting us.
Okay. That's only going to do temporary.
Yeah, that's true. She plays fetch for those of you who can't see this, which is all of you.
Yeah.
I just threw a toy mouse into the distance and she went
Yeah.
and grabbed it.
It's a
and
cat
now
who
she's back
plays
with
fetch.
it already.
Yep. So
Hickory, you're going to need to calm down.
Yeah.
deal with it.
I think she
Toucans aren't
understands.
Toucans aren't real. Deal
Deal
with
with
it.
it. That's just a Nickism, by the way.
Yeah, it's something I made
No,
up.
no real meaning to it.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Should we
Just let
post
that
a
one
link
slide
for that
by.
one? Or no? No. How are you
So-
guys doing? What's up?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Very little has happened in my life in the last couple of weeks. It's been really quiet since the new year, and
Yeah.
yeah, just real quick
2017.
before we get into the subject matter, because both of you just came back from Los Angeles.
We sure did.
Mhm.
Few
So
hours
we're
ago.
gonna talk about everything that transpired.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, this is our first recording in the new year. I think maybe we recorded another time, but
It is. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it's the first time we're recording in the new year, and it's great to have Luke with us on this New Year episode here. So,
Yeah, it's great to be back, boys.
yeah. So Happy New Year to everybody. It's a
Happy
little
New
bit
Year.
belated, but nevertheless, we'll say that.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. Are you guys into like New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing, or
I kind of
I was-
am.
I was
whether
hoping you
that's
wouldn't ask.
official, like you write it down and you like track the progress, or in maybe an unofficial sense, like you just think, this is a new year. Here's some things that I want to do this year, or accomplish this year, or just
Yeah.
become more regular at. Or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, there have been some resolutions that I've had in the past that I told myself I was going to stick with, and I didn't. So, I mean,
That's everybody though.
I know, but I mean, I do like the idea of New Year's resolutions. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Society kind of goads me on to a new me every year
Yeah.
because I'm just sitting on the sidelines thinking, oh, every day is just a day. Christmas it's a fun time. It's a great time to get together, but it's just a day. We got to remind ourselves of that. But the New Year's resolutions, like everybody else around me is doing them, and I'm like, Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Just to pick one day and stick with it for the rest of the 365 days that ensues. 366 sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and those pesky leap years.
Right. Yeah.
Not
yeah.
this one though.
Right. That was last year.
Was it last year?
2016 was leap year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe that explains what.
No way.
Maybe that that slight oddity, that slight eccentricity or eccentricity,
Yeah.
I like eccentricity.
eccentricity. Maybe that slight eccentricity is what explains all of the radical events that happened that year.
So many people say
The Cubs
they
win the World
hate-
Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
that leap year. That's
Yeah.
the explanation.
so many good things happened in 2016,
Yeah.
and a lot of bad things happened. But
Yeah.
for some
But
reason,
that's every year, you know. And
Yeah, yeah.
As if the year has anything to
I
do
know,
with
it
anything.
doesn't.
It's
it doesn't at
life
all.
goes on.
And it's so funny how all these people are like, you know, oh, 2016 is the worst year ever. And it's like, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
Maybe.
they made a theme of it on the social media because like people were posting statuses like my personal 2016, and they gripe about it. So my girlfriend made a mockery of it and said my personal 2016 wasn't half bad, or was just like wasn't too
Yeah.
bad. And I just
Yeah.
thought that was great. Just like shut up, you whiner babies. It's
Right.
It's fine. Yeah, Trump's president, but it's gonna be all right. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah, you know, if you think 2016 was a bad year because Trump was elected, and we're not going to dwell on this too long, but
yeah.
if that's really the main reason, and because a bunch of celebrities died, I would say, come on, that's a little weak.
Yeah.
Like, if you think a year was a bad year for you, I think it's much more legitimate to say that the reason I think this year was bad was because I had a ton of personal hardship
Yeah.
or tragedies, or, you know, I had 3 of my family members die, or I got cancer this year, or,
Yeah.
you know, or
Yeah.
I lost my house, or, you know, something really bad, like that happened to you, things that happened to you on a personal level. I would buy that 100% and say, yeah, I can see why you think 2016 was bad. But if you just say it because some like well-known members of the media and people who are in our entertainment who I've never met died, and that's why this year was bad, I just go, you know,
Yeah. Well,
you
which
know,
it's sad.
people die every
Yeah.
year.
Heroes
As if this
die
was the
every
first
year.
time, like, as if it's the first time, like, you know, think about this, like, every day somebody out there loses someone they love,
Yeah.
you know? Well, at the same time, somebody out there gains people that they love. Like, new people are born, and that's, you know, more love into their lives. So, yeah, I just don't buy it, you know?
I feel like if you were to put someone just like an average everyday person in the same spotlight that many of these huge stars who have died, if you put normal people in that spotlight, they'd behave the same way, and people would kind of create the same fan base.
Yeah.
Because we all have, as you put it, Danny, earlier, eccentricities or eccentricities, you know, whichever one you want.
Potato, potato.
Exactly, potato. Exactly, right.
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever heard that one? I didn't think so.
I
never will
just
again.
a
No,
few
you
seconds ago.
neologize, Nick. Good job.
Thanks.
So let's wrap up this little segment. Do you have any personal resolutions that you've thought of for this calendar year?
Boost my GPA. That's about it.
That's about it.
That's not
fine.
That's not
fine.
mine.
Yeah, not applicable.
Well, a couple. For one, Danny, the previous episodes that we had, I want to finish stuff, man. I really do. I
That's a
want to
good
finish
point.
stuff.
I want to learn flute.
Yeah,
I should get back into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
you really should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I was thinking about this actually yesterday. I want to, and I understand that some months I'm going to fail at this, but I want to write like 3 songs a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll define that as just the rough kind of sketch of a song. Doesn't have to be the full complete product, but just the basics, I guess. So the bass instruments, whether it's in a guitar-based song or a piano-based song, plus maybe a few other elements that are built around that here and there, but it doesn't have to be the fully produced product. But I'm like, you know what? I can generate 3 songs a month. Some songs I won't. Excuse me. Some months I won't.
Mm-hmm.
This month I'm probably not going to hit that. That's okay. And maybe June is a super busy month for us, and December oftentimes is. So there's a couple months I might not hit that mark.
At least
there's the other months where I can.
Yeah.
Or
At
can
least
go
the
there.
reason for not doing so is because you're actually doing something else, not because you're just like, I don't feel like it. You know?
Yeah, it's because I get
that's-
caught up with my work
Exactly.
life. Yeah,
Which is
there's
excusable as
yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, good. I'm glad we talked about that because I was wondering what you guys were thinking. And
Yeah.
Is it all
I-
music related?
Huh?
Oh, did you go over yours yet?
Well, I mean, I kind of
for me, it is because that's my main thing. But Nick,
Yeah, what's yours, Nick?
I
different for
want
you.
to make at least one film, whether it's a 10-minute short film, whether it's a 1-hour film. I want to finish a
Yeah.
film. And I also would like to, like Danny said, write some songs, whether it's make an album, make it, one song a month, one song every 3 months. I want to write music again and finish those songs that I start.
Let's help each other
Right,
meet these guys. Let's be accountability partners for each other.
Yeah.
Okay, whether it be contributing my 2 cents on the lyrics you write, or you, Danny, if I could just give it a listen and say, this sounds cool here.
yeah, just be that
discard
discerning.
this shit here.
Just be that discerning kind of critic for me, I guess.
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah.
just run by everything.
And as for me,
Could be-
I would practice flute daily, but it blows.
Oh,
Come on, no, you're not getting it.
I get it.
yeah, nice.
Your head was in the gutter, wasn't it?
All right, on to the main discussion for the evening here. So,
Hey, you. Yeah, you, who's listening to this show right now. I bet there's a good chance you aren't following us on social media. Let's fix that. Look up Every Last Drop Podcast on Facebook and like our page. Find us on Twitter @ELD Podcast. And find us on Instagram under the same name, @ELD Podcast. So won't you do me a kindness and follow us? Do it now.
let's just take it from the top. Why were you guys in LA? What'd you go there for? What was the whole point for that?
We went to LA for the 2017 Los Angeles WhipCon.
WhipCon.
What this is it's a bunch of people from the United States and outside of the United States coming together.
And whipping each other.
No. And celebrating, just the art of whip cracking and whip making.
Mhm.
And I have been into whip making for 6 years now. And
Wow, has it really been that long?
It has been.
Wow.
Yeah, the time flies.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was Luke and I were actually, we were aware of this event. This is probably the 3rd or 4th one they've actually had in Los Angeles. It's put together by a guy named Adam Winrich, who is a world-renowned whip cracker and whip maker.
Most famous, I'd say.
Easily
Yeah.
number one in the world
Oh,
for
yeah.
what he does.
Yeah, I would say he's humble in the fact that, he says he's not, but he is. Whether or not he likes it. But yeah, this was something that we knew about, or that I knew about for a while, and I just never really, could commit to like spending the money to do it and just going, almost all the way across the United States. But
really,
I was actually,
really quick here. Was money the number one reason that was holding you back from going
probably
in the past years
yes,
that you didn't go?
it probably was, and it was just maybe a little bit of fear. And just
Fear,
kind of the
yeah.
unknown. Just
See,
the
that's
kinda-
what I would
Yeah.
I would tend to say. I don't think it's the money. I think it's the fear.
It was probably, it was a combination between just kind of the fear. I'm kind of a shy person, to be honest.
because even the money being an issue is about fear.
You calling him
Yeah.
a penny pincher and a pussy? Jeez, we're just deprecating you, Nick. I'm so sorry.
Not in the least. I'm just saying that fear is what holds us back. And I think for those years that Nick didn't go, concerns about money are usually rooted in fear. Fear of,
Yeah.
where's my provision going to come from if I spend it here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And fear of
I would say
don't know.
apprehension. It's a bit
Apprehension.
more mild. Fear. When I think of fear, I just think of him like his knees quivering and like him wetting himself at the terminal or something like that.
Which
But like apprehension, it's like
Fear doesn't always look that
should
way,
I do
though,
this? Like everything's calculated. You know, like oh man, if I do this,
Let
I'll
me
be broke.
I'll explain.
Yeah.
What I mean by fear is just kind of what you said is it's part of that. It's part of like that's a long way to go. You know, I'm gonna be out there, and you know the people that I met. You know, fortunately, and I'm very thankful that they were very genuine, down to earth, friendly people towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of them just really showed a lot of like I don't know, like love for a fellow whip maker / whip cracker, which was awesome. But like when I was thinking about going, the uncertainties I had were like, are these people gonna like? Are they even gonna like me? Like I don't know. They know about me. I know about them. But what are they like? What do they like to just talk to one-on-one? And I wasn't sure, you know. And it was an uncertainty that I had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
You know,
mind
if I interject real quick?
oh yeah.
Because Nick and I have been to a few smaller whip cons, if you can call it that, or whip nicks is what we call them. Like we went down
Yeah.
to Indy that one time.
Yeah.
There was one kind of close at this park area, and the LA whip con just drastically differed from any of the whip nicks we've been to.
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing them; they were still really fun and kind of delineated the fan base.
Not
of-
just
of
in the
whips.
fact that it was bigger, right?
Right, right. It was exactly. But the thing that distinguished it was like the Whipnicks. They were cool, but a lot of people from every type of why you use whips came there, and explaining that further, pretty much everybody at the LA WhipCon this year, 2017 LA WhipCon, was because they were all there for specific reasons, and these specific reasons being making your whips for recreation, making your whips for
Performance, yeah.
aesthetic purposes, and making your whips for performance, like shows and precision whip cracking, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas the Whipnicks kind of had that crowd that comes along with that kinky aspect
Right.
to the whips,
The
like
weird
the
kind of
BDSM,
thing.
the non-vanilla.
Let's be
aspect.
honest. That's weird stuff.
Yeah. I can't fathom it, and yes, by definition, that I can't fathom it, it's weird.
And none of the folks that were at the LA Whip Meet participate in that Joliet, Illinois Whip Nick.
That's why
which was kind of
such a
uncomfortable.
connective moment for you, I think.
Yeah.
Because everybody there was not only professional in their trade,
Yeah.
they had the same goal. They had the same purpose in mind for whips.
Yeah.
And it's a showy thing, it's performance, it's a
Yes.
talent. That's the thing. It's a talent. Whip making and whip cracking
Yes.
in an artistic style.
Like these were true whip enthusiasts.
Yes.
Yes. And they
For
were
whip's sake.
they were world renowned, just like Nick.
Well,
So
thank you.
they all connected on a very similar level. And maybe it's just your ilk of people, whip makers and whip crackers alike. That's just, you exude kindness and,
yeah.
Yeah.
happiness.
For those
there's
of
a
you-
fondness in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For,
tender fondness.
for those of you who are a little confused of the whole whip thing, what this is it's just it's a convention for people who are into cracking bull whips. It's kind of a fine art, really. Cracking
And
a
it is
whip.
an art form.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And also the craftsmanship. If you've ever seen the movie Indiana Jones, the whip that Harrison Ford uses, it's actually a very detailed instrument. It's very strategically put together with leather. And what this is it's a group of people that come together. They share their ideas. They share their different whip cracking techniques, and it's just a fun weekend of just a bunch of friends who get together. A bunch of people who meet each other and immediately become friends, even if they never met, which is what happened to me.
Yeah.
Just to be with these people who share the same, tiny niche.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you
you
want
know.
to talk about a niche?
Oh yeah,
This
yeah,
is
and
this
I
is
think I
the
added a
niche of
T
all
in that.
niches.
Yeah, niche. Yeah, and it's there's this feeling about being surrounded by a bunch of people that love this very peculiar, tiny little fraction of everything
Yeah.
else in the world, and you both love it. It's like you're friends right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
as sort of an outsider to this, I'm going to play the role of the casual observer and just maybe ask try to think of some of the questions that the casual observer might ask.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I'll play the role of the dominatrix. This is gonna be fun.
I don't know how we'll play that out right now, but
Nick, go grab a whip.
Whip shop is 20
please,
feet
no,
away.
please, please. Okay, so the first question is, why in the world do people like this? Why are they into it?
I'll give an answer after you.
Sure.
Why would somebody gravitate towards cracking a bullwhip? So what? Who cares about that?
I think the first reason that people are drawn towards it is because it's something that's just it's something you don't see every day.
Yeah.
It's something weird. It's like this dude's swinging a rope around and it's making a sound, a loud, sharp crack. What's causing it? You know, why does swinging it in that particular fashion cause it to make that sound? It's just something that's like, I think a lot of the times we're drawn towards something that we have never seen before, and we want it. We're drawn to it because it's like, it's weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what? It's a whip.
There's
Like,
a fascination with something that's
yeah.
like foreign to you.
It's
or-
very foreign to you. It looks
Unusual.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's just it's unique, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's for cracking whips. Now, craftsmanship is a whole nother story. When you're
You're
move
going
in,
to a whole nother level when you go to
Exactly.
craftsmanship, right?
Now
you
you've
just upped it a notch.
Yeah, you've learned how to crack a whip, and you're like, wow, you have that sense of satisfaction of learning how to do something. And then now you're holding the whip in your hand, and you're looking at the way this thing is made, and you're like, you develop a whole nother appreciation for it. You're like, wow, this knot took this guy, 3 hours to make. I was talking to Adam Winrich, and he was showing me one of his recent whips that he made, and the knot on the end of the handle, he said it took him 3 hours to make. Just unbelievable strategic, just unreal how precise this knot was. So now you're holding the whip in your hand and you're seeing the different patterns, and it's kind of, you just get a whole new appreciation for the craftsmanship aspect of it. It's a work of art. And then you not only appreciate using the whip, but you appreciate, the time that somebody spent to make it. So I would say the artistic aspect of cracking it, using the whip, and also making it. So the time that somebody puts into it is another reason.
Yeah.
Luke, what about for you? You're not as involved as Nick is in whips, but you're more into it by default, I'd say, than I am. So
Right.
what's
And,
your
and it's
point of
apropos
view?
to say that my explanation is very similar to Nick's, but it's much more simpler. It's much more simply put.
Go for it.
I think a good analogy is when you're a kid, you light the firecracker, you throw it away from your face, and it blows up, and you're like, oh my God, that was so awesome. That crack, that pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you crack a whip for the first time, it takes a certain skill to get to that crack.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's you can compare and contrast that lighting the little firecracker and cracking a whip. And once you get that down, once you crack a whip for the first time, it's such a satisfying feeling. Just knowing that you are responsible for a tiny little tassel going the speed of sound, breaking the sound barrier, and making that noise.
It's kind of an
And-
extension of your body almost, would you say? When you crack a whip? Would you feel like it's kind of like... I don't know. No, moving on.
No, maybe in a sense,
Okay.
if I was like trying to picture myself as like an octopus or something, I was like at tentacles or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just seeing other people, seeing like Adam and Leo and Nick,
Oh, yeah,
and
Leo.
Todd Rex, just volleying back and forth, just doing it like 10 times a second. It's
Yeah.
just that crack, like it's just, you're like, wow, this takes skill.
Yeah.
This is not just some stupid little esoteric thing. Like, this is something that, like, if you crack a whip, you become hooked, and you like anytime you see a whip, you're like, oh my God, I want to try it out.
As if single-handed, using just cracking one whip isn't hard enough, which it is difficult to learn how to do, some of the fancier cracks. Some of these people are out here cracking 2 whips, one in each hand, and they're cracking these whips, and they're doing these different routines, and they'll go behind the back with one, over their head with the other, crossing the strand, or crossing the, the whips together without tangling them. And it's just unreal seeing these, like you said, Todd Rex, who's this guy who's an unbelievable whip cracker, and he can do backflips while he's upside down. He'll crack the whips,
Both whips.
and both whips at the same time. He'll crack them, throw one in the air, catch it behind his back. He's just unbelievable. And Adam Winrich is the same way as far as two-handed whip cracking. And Leo Maxwell, the little kid, he's like 13 years old, and he can do it too. And just unbelievable to see these people, So
Now,
Yeah.
Luke, you said it's not esoteric. What do you mean by that? Do you mean that anybody who picks up a whip and learns how to crack it by someone who already knows, teaching them, or whether they figure it out on their own, like that's all it takes to appreciate it or enjoy it?
Like
Is
if
that what
you
you
walked
mean?
up to a person on the side of the road and you were like, or you took a survey of like 100 people in Chicago, and you'd be like, "What do you think of whips?" And they go like, "Oh, I don't know." It has like a sexual connotation, and like
It does,
if
unfortunately.
during that same survey you teach that person how to crack a whip, they'll appreciate whips so much more in their lives, and it'll be like an accomplishment for them to have cracked that whip.
And they'll view it as such. They'll view it like, oh, I did something cool.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I made that thing crack in it.
yeah,
Especially when you tell them, hey, did you know that crack is... That's
a
you're
sonic
breaking this.
boom.
Yeah, that's
You
a
just
sonic
broke
boom.
the sound barrier.
Yeah.
when a fighter
proud.
jet breaks the speed of sound and there's a sonic boom, that is the exact same physics that's going on when
Just a bigger
when a whip
object.
cracks. Yeah, yeah,
The
Versus a
crack of
small
an
one.
F-18.
yeah.
Never thought of that.
Yeah,
until
it's
now.
it's like when you're lighting your stove, you hear a little tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
That little spark is thunder on a micro level. It really
That's
is.
so
It is
interesting.
the same physics.
Huh.
When you light your
It's
stove.
interesting how those processes are so identical, just scaled down
Yeah.
and
And
scaled
we can
up.
Yes.
harness them. And the way you harness that
Yeah.
sonic boom is with a whip.
Yeah,
And if you,
Wow.
like you said, if you tell people the physics behind it,
Yeah.
they're like, wow, that's
You're-
freaking awesome.
They can instantly become more interested in it.
yeah. It's there. If you're into science, chances are you'll find bullwhips interesting. Holding something that's breaking the speed of sound in your hand.
Okay, so now we understand that this is
The
this
appeal.
this was a destination for whip enthusiasts, people who really appreciate it for the art form that it is,
Yeah.
and there's like-minded people. They're sharing ideas and sharing maybe techniques, designs, whatever.
Yeah.
What did it actually look like in terms of like events, or like what was like what do you do during? How long was it? A couple days?
Yes, it was 2 days.
So what are you doing to fill your time during these couple of days? Like what are there events?
Well, yes, it was 2 days. Saturday was kind of a meet and greet / competition, and what happened was on Saturday we all kind of showed up. We all met each other. We just started cracking whips casually. Had conversations with each other.
right.
And later on, as the day kind of moved forward, we Adam Winrich, who is the organizer of this event, he got everybody to the side and said, "All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and start. We have competitions that we're gonna go through today. If you're interested in signing up for this competition, sign this paper here, sign up here. Here's another competition here, two-handed whip cracking. Here's precision whip cracking. You sign up here." So it was kind of a day one was kind of, meet and greet / competitions to kind of display your skill you already have established in whip cracking.
Yeah, and furthermore, like each competition that was held had 3 prizes, like bronze,
Yeah.
silver, and gold prizes.
Yeah.
And the expensiveness of each prize, obviously rose as you rose up in the placement ladder.
Mm-hmm.
But
What were the prizes?
whips made by very famous whip makers. Well, first place prizes were like masterfully woven
Right,
whips.
like
by-
the best whips you could find.
Yep.
And one of the whips was your very own Nick Schrader right here.
Yes, I
He-
donated one of my whips.
Was it used as a prize?
It was brand new. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? No, what I'm saying, was it like given away as a prize to a contestant?
Todd Rex actually won that one. The
Oh,
guy
yeah.
who does the backflips.
Yeah.
Was it a first place or
Or
a second place?
I think it was. Did he get first or
I
second?
think it was first.
Yeah.
maybe.
I believe so. It was first or second place. I think Leo might have won the first place for the double-handed whip cracking.
Oh, yeah.
So it must
Yeah.
have been second place.
Did he
but
like it? Did he like
He
the
seemed
whip?
to like it. Yeah, he didn't
Seemed to.
Yeah, I hope he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah,
It was a good whip.
I think he did.
It was kind of woven in the image of that's funny, religious joke.
Yeah.
It was woven in the image of the whip that Nick made for himself and that he made for me going down there for the precision
Oh,
and all
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. So it's masterfully made. And
It was a fire pattern, is what
Yeah.
that one was. It's
really,
kind
really
of
pretty.
yeah.
All right, let me steer it back. So we're talking about the competitions, and so just keep going with how the
Sure.
proceedings were going.
Yeah. So yeah, day one was just kind of competitions, meet and greet. Day two was set up so that some of the the whip crackers, Adam Winrich, Todd Rex, April Choi, who is specializes in making and cracking fire whips. And what fire whips are is it's actually a whip woven from a certain material called Kevlar that's fire resistant. So you can actually soak this in kerosene or lamp oil, light it on fire, and then crack it. And then it adds a whole nother aspect to whip cracking. You're
Some
holding this-
showmanship.
Yes, performance. It's really cool to see. So day two was just kind of, clinics set up for, you could pay, and then they would sit down with you and kind of go through very, very detailed, explanations of how they, build whips.
Did you participate in any of that?
I did, yeah. Luke and I, we signed up for the April Choi's fire whip clinic, which was very informative. It was meant to only be 2 hours, but she actually was very thorough, and it was about 3.5 hours of her
Wow.
just explaining, which was
Yeah, and there's no such thing as too thorough.
yeah, oh yeah, and it could have gone on longer, but it was just it got so late,
Like you had to cut it short.
yeah,
Forced to.
exactly, yeah. So that's pretty much how the 2 days went.
Nice.
Yeah, in between, we were just visiting the sites,
Mhm.
Hollywood Sign,
Yeah,
delicious restaurants,
Oh,
Hollywood
yeah.
Boulevard, and all that jazz.
yeah.
Cool. But you stayed pretty much in that general vicinity, right? You
Yeah.
didn't venture much further out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We stayed in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Luke and
LA's
I-
big.
Yeah. It really worked out because our Uncle Frank, who lives in Hollywood, offered to put us up for 3 nights. So we got to stay with him,
Mm-hmm.
which is very, very fun, very
Nice.
convenient. So, yeah,
So those were the 2 days.
those were them. Yeah.
What was each of your personal favorite moment or highlight of those 2 days? What would you say would be your number one moment?
Two. One of them was Todd Rex doing a backflip off of the power
Yeah.
power
Yeah.
tower.
Yeah. The high
whatever you call
tension
it.
wire tower.
Yeah, he did a backflip off of that. It was like 9 or 10 feet above the ground. You can find it on YouTube.
It's
Todd Rex
crazy.
backflip whips, all those keywords, and you'll
Yeah.
find it. But he does a backflip off the tower, and in midair, upside down, he cracks 2 whips, one in each hand. It was spectacular. And then he
Yeah.
lands it and does an awesome volley. Nick has videos of it. I think he's going
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna
compile
put
it,
together
put
a-
it on Nick's Whip Shop on YouTube
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
The
just a
second
little
was
wrap
when
up.
it was April Choi's turn to do the two-handed whip cracking competition, and she said, "I need to volunteer." So she had this guy come up, and she got on his shoulders and did the cracking up there, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Nice. You, Nick?
Yeah, I would have to say
All of it because he's not biased.
Uh,
Anyway,
no. I
disclaimer. Go on.
my favorite part of the trip was just meeting these people because,
Yeah.
for example, Paul Nolan of Midwest Whips.
Not
This-
from the Midwest, by the way.
No, he used to be, but he moved out to LA. But this guy's got a huge whip company. I was a little bit intimidated to meet Paul Nolan because,
Yeah.
I
Going
mean,
back
this-
to that kind of fear aspect we
Yeah,
talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Being
But-
intimidated.
This guy is just one of the nicest guys, and they all are. I'm just using Paul as an example. He's just one of the nicest guys you can meet. He after I did my little I was finished with one of the competitions that I entered, freestyle single, handed whip cracking. I walk back, around by one of the picnic tables, and he's like, "Nice job, man." He's like complimenting me on my
Yeah.
form. And then I was like, thanks, Paul. You know, it was, I shook his hand at that point, and it was a little bit after, I met him for the first time. And he's like just talking with me about like, you know, video editing, what he uses to edit his videos. And he's just like, just a genuine person. And just making that connection with him and everyone else there that I knew about and I was familiar with, but I didn't meet in person yet. Just that feeling was just my favorite part of the trip, you know? Just like, yeah, it was just great. These people were very loving, and at the end of the day, you know, you're giving each other hugs. It's just like I always knew you. I always knew you, man.
And just like, wow, where did this come from? It's like, because we're all like, it's like for a moment in time, you experience what it's like for a pretty large group of people to truly feel united around something, right?
Yes, and I feel like the smaller
unity.
the smaller the niche, the more that people connect.
Yeah.
You know?
It's because it really takes something special for someone to be into this.
Yeah.
So when you meet a fellow person who's into XYZ thing, you immediately know that there's a really strong potential to connect.
Yeah, something so specific, you're going to have other common interests, you know? And I just felt so connected, and like I always knew these people, even though I didn't. And just that feeling in and of itself with these people was my favorite part of the trip. Second favorite part of the trip was, you know, just chilling with my bro, man. Luke came with me.
Yeah, just to have him along for the ride.
Yeah, just, you know, doing this with my brother, man. I'm really, I had an awesome time with you, man.
Yeah, so did I.
I'm really glad you came, bro. You know, just hiking up to the Griffith Observatory.
Was going to be the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't have
not enough
too much time for that. Yeah. So we just went to the observatory, which was awesome because I got a picture of myself, like putting my index finger and my middle finger in like James Dean's his bust. Yeah, in his eyes, and like kind of looking at the camera, squinting because the sun was in my face. I got that picture from the LA mission trip like all those years ago. How many years ago was that? Like 6?
Oh, dude. 6 or 7.
Yeah. And so I got the same exact picture in the same exact pose.
We're trying to replicate
that was
it.
Awesome. And then
you did the same thing in Tucson.
Oh my God. I beat myself up for not getting a picture of this, but this Asian woman, you know how sometimes like these touristy Asians, they wear these shirts with American words on them.
Oh yeah.
A prime example is one that, excuse my French, just blatantly says off, and just I've seen pictures on Facebook, YouTube, on the internets, you know, with these shirts like that. And so this, anyway, beside the point.
Yeah, now I have to mark this episode explicit. Thanks a lot.
Shut up, Danny. This Asian woman at the observatory had a shirt that said "computer malfunction." What? Right? Like, you might as well put like virus or like "I'm sick, don't touch me," just something like that. Just something even more bizarre.
So yeah, Luke and I are trying to get secretly take a picture.
Yeah. So I was posing beside the Tesla coil, and Nick was like, "Get a little to the left."
Yeah.
And he like kept his camera pointing even though I moved.
Yeah.
She's like trying to zoom in.
She wouldn't turn around so we could see the shirt. So I was like, "It's a little blurry. I'm gonna try again."
Yeah, and I tried to. You know how like you make a loud noise and people naturally just turn their heads, and I was just like, and she just wouldn't turn, man. She was just stuck in her own little world, looking at the moon phases or something.
Never did get a picture, man.
Sad.
It's in here though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up in the noggin.
Yeah.
Oh, another great part of the trip. We were in between the trek to the observatory and seeing April Choi's Fire Whip workshop. Was we went to McDonald's actually because we were starving and everything else was like really expensive. Oh yeah! And this homeless guy was kind of pacing up and down like the drive-through line, and the cars in front of us, he was just like tapping on their windows and just be like, "Hey, you got money?" And I sound like I'm mocking him. I am, because he's a total dick. So he gets to our car and I'm just like, "Nick, don't give him any money. We already handed out like $20 in cash to various homeless people, you know." And this guy, he doesn't need it. Okay, so he gets to our window, and we keep the window up, and Nick's like, no. And then the guy is just so offended, and he's like, "God hates you," and just flips us off, and then just keeps walking.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a lot of nerve to be begging, and
He
then
hates
flip,
himself.
Yeah, flip somebody off like that.
Yeah, and my comment was like, "Oh yeah, God sure loves you.
It's like
See you later, prick."
it's like God would love us if we give him money, but if we don't, he hates us. So it's like,
Yeah, well, like that Facebook
God's
post.
fickle like that,
this
you
if
know?
you love
Exactly.
God. Ignore this if you love Satan. You know.
yeah,
Exactly. It's either hard one way or hard the other way.
yeah.
Oh, I gotta incentivize them somehow.
I've never seen that before. That was the first time I ever saw like somebody begging, and then just turn around and flip you off. Like I've never seen that in my
For
life.
not giving in to
Yeah.
their nonsense.
Yeah, it's like
I can't afford my heroin.
it's like who do you think you are to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a jerk.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason that guy's homeless. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
speculating, but
So that was
Maybe.
pretty bizarre. I've never
Yeah.
seen that happen before,
oh,
but it did. Yeah.
wow.
Interesting.
Nice. Well, I think we got a nice broad overview of what happened at the
Yeah.
WhipCon this year.
That's right.
So you're going to be making some video highlights and stuff, and that's going to be out on the YouTube.
Yes, it's going to be on the YouTube.
Nick's
Yes.
Whip Shop on YouTube, by the way.
That's right.
YouTube.com/Nick's Whip Shop.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Like and subscribe, all right? Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, hey, actually, I'm interested to see the highlights. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
you gonna
look it up
subscribe,
and-
Danny? Huh?
Yeah, I may as well. subscribe.
You're not
May as well.
subscribed to me already?
Yeah.
What?
Kill him.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let's air our dirty laundry here.
You're
Nick.
subscribed to me
In person.
in general, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I might not have a digital subscription to your YouTube channel, but like I subscribe to you as a person by
Yeah.
Dude,
talking to you about it all the time.
Yeah, it's just like people saying like, "Hey, like my picture. Did you like my picture on Instagram?" It's like, yeah, I just didn't hit the like button. I liked it. I just didn't
Yeah,
press the little button.
Or like, yeah. I just love it when it's like you tell somebody, hey, I really like that picture that you put or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, did you like it? No, I didn't, because I usually don't. Well, what's wrong with you? Well, what
Yeah.
is me like? Would you prefer for me to like double tap something to say that I like it, just so
Yeah.
that you can have a higher like count?
Like,
is
it
that
takes-
preferable to me in person telling you I like it?
It takes more effort on my behalf to change my opinion than double tapping with my thumb. So he
Yeah.
should whoever raises that as an argument should feel loved in the fact that you actually did
Yeah.
like. It means more than
Yeah.
a frickin'
I mean, you
double
went
thumb
above
tap.
and beyond
Yeah.
by telling them in person. You went above and beyond.
Yeah.
So it means more. Do you want to keep up with all of the cool stuff that's happening on Every Last Drop? Head on over to everylastdroppodcast.com to find out about everything we do, from a feed of our most current episodes, blog posts, ways you can get in touch with us, and an opportunity to join our email list so you can get up-to-date information about our latest releases. Haven't signed up yet? What are you waiting for? Go! All right, we're getting a little off track now, so let's move on to what I think. To me, this is one of the best things we've ever done on this show. It's what, and you know what, Luke? Not having you here, there's been a big giant vacuum in this area.
Yeah, dude,
You know
where
what?
the
You know
hell
what
have
I'm
you been?
talking about? You know what I'm talking? What am I talking about?
What the?
We're talking about poetry hour.
We're talking about the poetry hour.
What do you think we're talking about?
I
one
don't
and-
know.
the
You were
one and
sucking up
only-
to me.
See,
I was
you've
just
been gone
thinking
so
suck
you've been
because
gone
mentioned
so long.
vacuum.
You forgot about what we do on this show.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't even remember
I
like
thought you
what it
just
was
talk
we
It
and
just
just ramble on. And
burns
just-
me.
I thought you just chin wag. You know,
Yeah.
quadlibetificate.
did. Well, we do some of that.
Well, on the side, you know.
Yeah, just a little dab.
Oh, you
All right.
want fries? Would you like fries with that?
Yeah, I would. Okay, so you got something ready for us? You gonna drop on us?
Yeah.
All right, hold that thought. Here, you got a few seconds here to collect your thoughts.
Okay.
Okay.
This is called Inferno of Apathy.
Whoa, provocative already.
It's got a good message. He slouches on the sofa. One hand clasps the remote. The other is immobilized in a bag of buttery popcorn. His droopy eyes plastered on the Magnavox, veritably hypnotized. too far gone to take notice of the great fire raging just beyond the window, sweeping through the neighborhood like locusts in a cropland, consuming Mr. Freeman's tulips, incinerating the Nelson's garden. He needs a hero born of the earth to liberate his mind, to put the pins upon his chair, to bind the yoke to his hair, to smell the thick smoke in the air and actually care. Just think of a world where courage grows on trees, where the megaphone isn't under lock and key, where we proclaim with pitchforks to the bourgeoisie that we are not merely statistics in a ledger, nor a bandwagon of passive-aggressive contenders, that we are victims of ritualistic conditioning, not subscribers to entitlement partitioning, that the fire must be doused and the people must be rallied before the ashes pile up and the death count is tallied. He needs a Virgil to guide him over Styx, a rogue bolt of lightning to dash his television fix, incentive to shun the whitewash the media transmits. Who will point toward the sunshine today and vouch on behalf of sunshine's every ray? Who will look past the pixels and tenaciously say, I belong to the mountains, and the mountains to me. From my birth unto my death, I can breathe, I can see. I'll make a promise to the earth. I am yours. I am free.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Nice.
You want to go first on that one, Nick, or you want me to give it a shot?
I'm gonna pick this apart in pieces. I feel like it's starting off with a guy he's kind of given up on himself
Mm-hmm.
and just on any future he ever had for himself. And he's just like, well, I'm just gonna stay home and just do nothing really. And when you say he needs a hero, maybe he needs somebody to be an inspiration to him, to get him over this, to get him outside of this, like, depression maybe, or this, like...
What's the title?
Huh?
Inferno of Apathy?
Apathy.
Yeah. Well, apathy's... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of like in a steady mediocreness,
Yeah.
He needs somebody to get him out of it. He needs like an inspirational, character in his life. That's what I get out of it. That's the first part. I'm still kind of
Processing
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Twist.
I'm going to be honest. I'm struggling a little bit with this one.
Mm-hmm.
To fully understand what's going on here. One of the things that I'm sort of wrestling with right off the top is, in the beginning, clearly it's very obvious that this is an apathetic person because he's being a couch potato, basically, eating buttery popcorn and just watching TV and just being lazy and not caring about anything, including that there's a fire right outside that's destroying everything and it's going to consume
Inferno
him.
of apathy.
Right. So what I'm wondering is the apathy in the character, or is the fire itself a symbol for apathy? Because if you don't do anything about it, apathy is like something where if you don't do anything about it, it is like a fire that will consume you.
Yes.
So it's like the fire
And it's contagious.
is like the force of apathy.
Yeah. You can see it destroying the people and the loved ones around you.
Well, this guy didn't see it.
Right, because he was so stuck in his nihilistic...
He's under its influence.
Yes. Yeah, he's like Nick said, he's given up. He's kind of resigned, and he's just watching TV. And like he needs a rogue bolt of lightning to dash his television fix. Like he needs someone to clasp him, hit both his shoulders, and just jolt him awake and say,
Right.
Look at the mountains, feel the rain, sing along with the birds. Don't just delve into technology. Don't fade away into nothingness.
See, that's where I got lost a little bit, is like what you diagnosed the problem, but I didn't see a clear
Resolution.
demonstration into like, well, what rescues him, or what is it that gets
Eshul.
this person out of this trap of apathy? Like what's rescues him from those claws of
Eshul of the
treacherous
media.
death?
Just a reset of mentality. just taking a nature walk and throwing your phone in the ditch.
Yeah.
But this guy doesn't just volunteer to do that.
Oh no, he needs a Virgil to guide
It's like
him over
something needs to
Styx.
wake him up.
Yeah, we do. Before this inferno of apathy
So-
consumes the whole planet.
So those of us who aren't under that spell, so to speak, who aren't
Right.
who
ones
aren't in
who
those
have-
clutches,
The ones who have been debranded, so
Yeah.
to speak.
it's incumbent upon them to run into the fire and rescue the guy, get him out of there. wake him
Anybody who harbors the truth is responsible for being a harbinger of the truth.
up. So really, it's a poem about truth. Then, really, if we get
Yeah.
right down to it, like the truth is the antidote.
Yeah. The truth will set you free.
Yeah, the truths that are in life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like it.
I like
so that's
those.
what the resolution is,
Yeah.
and I like how it's not necessarily. It's not really plainly in there.
Right.
I like
it's,
that.
It's as all of my poetry strives to be, as most poetry should be. It's polysemous.
Yes. And but that subtlety. Like I like that in even like a movie that I watch. Like I don't want it to just like I want to actually have to do some work
Yeah.
to interpret what the themes are or the meaning or what the
precisely.
message is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want it to just be spoon-fed to me. And that's what I feel about this poem.
Right.
You didn't spoon-feed it to me. I had to like do some
You had to
deconstruction.
extrapolate the,
Yeah, exactly.
the knowledge. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like that. The book of poetry that you were showing me the other night. I believe it was.
Oh yeah.
Who was it?
It's Robert Frost.
Yeah. Yeah, it's every single line. You can't just like read it once fast. You have to really
You
read
have
a
to
line
Feel it.
and stop and be like, okay, just really slowly, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Frost isn't like a super duper like complex, deep poet, is he?
I mean,
At least
a lot
not in
of
terms
his-
of like the language. He
His-
uses pretty
his-
simple, plain language, right?
Not really. His
No?
parlance is pretty old style, but I mean, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Like a lot of his poetry is kind of simplistic in nature,
Yeah.
but I think most of it actually is kind of labyrinthian, where you have to think about it, you have to feel it. That's the key to poetry. You have to kind of put yourself in the shoes of the author and try to use your imagery to experience the emotions that he or she is at
Yeah.
that moment in time. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of them are simple and some are kind of cryptic. I think that's the beauty of it, to kind of meet halfway in between, where you have a specific message as a poet that you're trying to convey to your audience.
Yeah.
But you don't want to just say it. You don't want
Yeah.
to just be like, lying is
that's
bad.
boring.
No,
That's
no,
boring.
You need to explicate it in a very aesthetic process.
Right.
Mhm.
But you want to leave enough, maybe I'll say clues in there so that you can at least guide
Yes,
them.
and
put
for
them in
most
the
of
right
my
direction.
poetry, most of my poetry, I hint in the title.
Yeah.
Like Inferno of Apathy, that's my message.
Yeah.
Like apathy is
That's the
hell,
giveaway.
essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And like the pith of my poetry is in the titles, but that's not to say it's not polysemous anymore. No, the meaning, the interpretation is up to you. I want to
Exactly.
enlighten the people who read my poetry
Yeah.
to not only a deeper knowledge of reality and a deeper appreciation for nature, but I want them to find the interpretation on their own, in their own way.
Exactly what I was just gonna say. I like how there's kind of a broad, like a general direction where this song or this poem is intending to take you, but there isn't an exact cut out pathway. It's
Yeah.
kind of, it's kind of tailored to your own life in a way. Like it does mean something specific, but not, cut exactly to, a certain way. It's kind of, okay, how does this fit your life? Kind of. And I like that. I really do like that because it's a lot
Yeah.
more people can appreciate that.
It's not
So
about
we
the
all have different
destination,
lives.
it's about the journey.
We all have different journeys. I like that.
And your own, wherever you're at in your own journey is going to influence the interpretation that you have
Yeah.
and that you arrive at.
Exactly.
But you don't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive at a certain interpretation at this point in time, but it's very likely to continue to evolve and
Yeah.
take a
Yeah.
different shape.
Exactly.
As the mood shifts, so does the meaning, oftentimes.
Mm-hmm.
Are there certain immutable truths or themes that are in your poetry that you'd say would refute that idea that you just said, that as the mood changes, these things don't change?
Mm.
Or do you think all your poems are basically malleable in that way?
Oh, yeah, they definitely all are.
And you want them to be?
I mean, some are kind of like fables where, yeah, there's a clear moral to the story, and it's like, do this, don't do that.
yeah.
But, I mean, it's...
And those are
all
consistent.
of those types of poems that I have are kind of like... They kind of delineate a truth of morality that kind of everyone knows. It's kind of ubiquitous and universal. But as far as like the gray areas, yeah, it's pretty up to interpretation.
And
Is
you're
that what
you're comfortable to leave it in that space.
Yes.
That's where you want it to live.
I require it
Yeah.
to live in that space.
yeah.
That's if anybody how do I say
If it
this?
isn't there, then what?
What do you mean if what isn't there?
If it's not in that space of the gray, do you feel like it loses authenticity, or what's?
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's just like doing a portrait of someone. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
It takes incredible talent to make a really realistic, to paint a really realistic picture of someone's face. But like, you take the painting, you take the portrait, and you look at this person's face, and you're like, okay, they're kind of close, you know. But we're like, you know what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm going?
I do get what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that further. I'm trying to think about it.
Try to rephrase it a little bit.
You talk while I think about it.
Okay. So
I had a thought. It's just
you're likening it to an artist sketching somebody's face.
like
So are you saying that the details are up for grabs?
Maybe
in there?
they see different things in someone, depending on like the sketch that they make of someone. You know, they see maybe like humor, so they'll kind of sketch them in a certain way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they'll notice certain traits in the person,
exactly, and
and they'll try to
artist-
bring those out
yes,
to the forefront.
Yes, and they have, every person has more than one trait, and different artists kind of bring different traits to the surface that others don't.
yeah,
You know, is that what you're?
yeah. I guess kind of changing my analogy a little bit. Like think of like someone painting a portrait, but it's kind of blurry. You don't see all the details. You don't see how sharp the nose is. You don't see how penetrating the eyes are or what color the eyes are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can see the person smiling. You know it has an optimistic,
Yeah.
kind of an optimistic vibe to it.
And your
Yeah.
imagination kind of takes care of the rest of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It leads you somewhere in a general direction, and then you, as the beholder, you fill in the rest of the details yourself.
And another good analogy is I try to corner my readers into a certain conclusion, but all of the details are a bit fuzzy. They have to come up with their
Yeah.
own. With their
You
own
don't want to
details.
fill in those gaps for them.
Definitely not. That's like imagination is fleeting. That's why the Inferno of Apathy was such a meaningful poem to me.
Yeah.
Because like then you're trying to bring out imagination. You're trying to bring out kind of self-actualization.
And that's like how you guys were saying. I think that's the reason that using analogies in writing and especially songs is so important.
Yeah.
You don't want to make it so obvious, like I took a left on Elm Street,
Yeah.
you don't want to like say everything exactly.
Yeah.
Like I did this, I did that, I felt this way.
Yeah.
You want to leave it kind of open a little
Yeah.
bit.
The most
Incite
straightforward,
imagination.
plain language is like the worst for art. Totally. Yeah. I think of it. We could go for a while on this, so maybe after this thought we'll wrap it up. So I think that the same applies to like truth. Let's say, like there's almost like a hierarchy, or there's different levels to truth, and at the very base level, or most rudimentary, let's say, level of truth
Yeah.
is what I would call like literal truth or like a historical truth. For example, like George Washington was the first president of the United States. That's true.
Incorrect.
Oh, we have a Washington denier in our.
George Washington didn't exist.
Yeah.
Neither did his wooden teeth.
So, like, that would be an example of that's like a historical truth or a literal truth. It literally happened.
Yeah.
But let's use another example of a truth. Like, it is wrong to steal. Okay, that's not like you can't say like that's something that's like literal per se. I mean, it does deal with like a real behavior, but that is getting at a much higher truth, a much higher level, because now we've implicated morals.
Right.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
interesting. I would think you'd say lower, because like it's harder to
No, like
substantiate
well,
that it's virtuous.
I'm probably opening up a can of worms by saying this, but
No, I
like-
get why you say higher though.
like let's
Is what you mean higher is like it's something kind of relevant today? Like George Washington was years ago, so therefore is that what you're
no,
saying?
no,
Yeah,
let
I
let
can
me
see that.
explicate here.
Okay.
So again, this is opening up a can of worms, but I'm just going to do it. I'm just
describe
going to
what
do
you
it.
meant. Yeah.
When people talk about the Bible, let's say,
Okay.
now there are some Christians who view the Bible as everything that's in it is literal, exact historical truth, including like when they read Genesis, they would say like, you know, this is like reading a history book, Genesis. It's like it's telling us how the world was created, how long it took, blah 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 blah. And then there's other Christians who would say, no, listen. Every word that's in the Bible is true, but it's not all literal. And some people that just like makes their head explode. What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like they'd
Yeah.
say, but if something isn't literally true, then it's not true.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm not going to go any further with that because, you know, we don't have time for that kind of controversy. But I'll give one more example. When I was in college, when I was a freshman at VU, there's a class that every freshman has to take called Core. Have you been in it yet?
No, I took 2 years at Ivy Tech and therefore was exempt.
Nice. You're lucky. So Core is basically, it's kind of like an English class. It's a gen ed class. People from every major and discipline are just mixed in and lumped into it. Basically, you read books and then you write papers about them and you discuss the readings in class and have discussions. And if you've got a good group of people in there, it's great. But if you've got a group of people in there who either don't read it or they're just boring people or they're just
Taking core 'cause they
very
have to take
reticent.
core.
Yeah, people who are just there to fill a seat, who just because they have to and they don't care, they're apathetic or they're just quiet by nature and they don't like to talk much. It ruins the whole experience. And honestly, that's how it is most of the time because nowadays college kids aren't much into reading and you know.
Shame.
Yeah, they're not into the liberal arts, unfortunately. But this class is attempting, at least, to force kids into it. So we read this book called The Things They Carried. And I don't remember the author's name. But it's a story about soldiers in Vietnam and just talking about their lives and their struggles and kind of like what a living hell it was, but how they persevered and so on and so forth. Now, here's the funny thing that we learned later. Towards the end of the book is when like we found out this because our teacher or the professor didn't want us to know this right off the bat. They wanted us to read it and take it in and then tell us this fact about the book and then see how we responded to it. Here's the thing. The vast majority of the stuff that he talked about in that book wasn't like literal historical things that happened. So like, but he presents it as though it was. So he gives names and characters and vivid stories and all this stuff. He made it all up. But what he argues is that just because I made it up, who cares? That's irrelevant. Just because it's not like literally true or historically true, that just because let's say Jim wasn't a real person, you know, Jim Smith wasn't a real person and he never did this and this never happened and blah, 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 that doesn't mean it isn't true.
It doesn't mean that
So,
a similar thing
Yeah.
could have happened, you know? Like,
yeah, so that's essentially his argument is like the ideas that I'm communicating through these stories are true. And that's why it's a higher truth, a higher level of truth. Because some people, and when I, at the time, honestly, I've changed a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I understand where he's coming from much more now, and I actually probably agree with him a lot more now than when I was in the class. I used to think, well, no, if it didn't happen, it's not, how can you say it's true? It's not true. But now I'm like, well, maybe it's not historically true, but that doesn't mean that, a story of courage doesn't tell you the truth about what courage really means, for example. So, I think there's some overlap in kind of how you do your poetry that way. Is like, there's different levels to it. There's some nuance. It's not all just going to be straightforward, leading them to here's the black and white, because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
It's like, this is the gradient from black to white. You choose where you are, and you find out why, pretty much.
Yeah.
And each and every poem is kind of, I'm ballparking where this kind of mood is. Like, this is kind of mostly optimistic. I swear to God, I'm not being racist. Towards the white, towards the light. There we go. And then this is towards the darkness.
oh god.
Where it's kind of brooding.
You
What?
made it that way. Not
No,
me, not Nick.
You know
it
what?
was you.
People would have thought. I just had to clarify. But yeah, that's
Great.
that's.
All right. Well, I think that was really good.
Oh, screw off.
Dude, we have a lot of black friends. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Justified.
It's justified. There you go. You're cleansed. You're good. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. I'm fine with just go ahead and leaving it there.
Before we wreck it.
Letting it speak for itself.
Let's get more into racism, actually. So I attend the Indy 500. Does that make me a racist?
Anyway, so
Stole
thanks
that
for
joke
listening.
from Uncle Frank.
Thanks for listening to Every Last Drop. I hope you enjoyed the show today. We talked about the LA WhipCon, and
Yes,
we
we
did. I'd say that was like a super duper extended poetry hour because it just morphed into something else. I loved it.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
Hope you guys enjoyed
I had
it.
a great time.
Please, again, I would ask you, if you enjoy the show, take 2 minutes and leave us a nice review on iTunes. There's some guy took the time to do it. I don't recall his name off the top of my head, but thank you. Appreciate that. So
Hey,
5
yes.
stars is preferred.
And definitely suggest in your 5-star review that our slogan should be quadlibetification, period, and that's it. Because that's exactly what we do.
Hey,
I've said this before, but I could care less what you write in the review as long as you give us 5 stars.
Quadlibetification.
5 stars is better than 4.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, 4 is kind of like the minimum requirement.
Yeah.
But 6 stars, oh boy.
Yeah.
if you could,
Just give us a 5-star rating, and then in writing, just be like, just
I'd give it-
type out 6 stars, and then
Yes.
just call it a day,
Yes, exactly.
and everything will be okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
You'll be rich and famous
that's right. That's right.
And then
Yeah.
world peace will ensue.
Yep. Of course.
for you
Yeah.
and your family.
All it takes is just one 5-star review and then world peace. So
Yeah.
what's not to love there?
6-star review. Danny.
Yeah, 6 stars. There you go.
Come on.
So yeah, and take a moment to check out our website too, everylastdroppodcast.com, and get involved. So thanks a lot, guys. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, by the way, this is on iTunes, so do yourself a favor and go subscribe there. Thanks a lot. We'll be with you again next time. All right. Thanks,
See you guys.
See you soon.
Next time.